Hello, my name is Jonah Primo and welcome to the Overexamined Life. So here we are, venturing into the podcasting abyss. Some of you know me already, but for those of you who don't, great to meet you. I'm Jonah from Sydney, a composer by trade and an obsessive explorer of both Eastern and Western philosophy. That started off as a hobby. The hobby became a philosophy degree. And the only thing philosophy degrees are any good for are philosophy podcasts. So you may know some of my work from Principle of Charity or the Waking Up app's Work in Progress. And the nature of what I've been studying has been varied, from attempting to unlock the metaphysical realities of the universe to attempting to figure out what is required for me to be relentlessly and constantly happy. It may come as no surprise I've achieved neither of those goals. That being said, I have significantly improved the quality of my mind, my ability to be present, roll with the punches, see the beauty in the banal as well as the spectacular, and be at peace with not knowing why the universe put any of us here. However, I am still often at the mercy of my prehistoric brain, and to give you a picture of what that looks like, I can find myself sometimes going to sleep filled with gratitude and satisfaction and profound love for all conscious beings in the universe, and then can wake up an hour later oozing with shame and self-hatred, replaying an embarrassing memory from my childhood. Thus, I am a living, breathing oxymoron, or perhaps just a moron. My hope is that through this podcast, myself and my fellow morons can at least become healthier and kinder and more fulfilled morons by learning from those who are less moronic. And I was going to go deeper into what that would look like, but I think sharing the type of memory from my childhood that is interrupting a good night's sleep will better explain the intent of the Overexamined Life. So, when I was a little boy, my school ran a Mother's Day fair. The idea was each student would visit the store with $5 from their mum and then pick out a present for mum. It was this beautiful concept where everyone took home something. The tiniest kids, a cohort I belonged to, took home a lesson in selflessness and generosity. The older kids, tasked with protecting the tiniest kids from being trampled, learned responsibility and stewardship. And everyone's mum took home a scented candle. When I arrived at the stall, there was a fantastic hubbub, an ocean of 4-year-olds in deep discussion about what would be the perfect gift for mum. But while others shopped, I lurked in the shadows, keeping my secrets to myself, silently watching my contemporaries purchase eucalyptus soaps and blueberry bath bombs, while I was tiptoeing towards the concealed box of handmade Belgian chocolate, hidden behind a stack of cheap chemist perfumes. Because I was sure I knew my mum better than anyone else. But what, as a conniving child, I had somehow discovered about my mum was not that she adored chocolate, but that she was watching her figure, which meant she'd only eat one minuscule morsel of chocolate and then would casually dump the entire box into a waist-height cupboard to be forgotten by everyone, except for me. And that evening under the cover of darkness, I would sneak into said cupboard and eat myself sick. Now, let's stop and reflect for a second. What kind of degenerate little bastard uses his own mother's money to buy himself a Mother's Day present? It's unhinged. But what's even more unhinged is that I've been replaying this event for 25 years. And that is what I would describe as overexamination. When does this memory of impulsive greed decide to resurface? Exactly when it shouldn't, and precisely when it's not supposed to. In the middle of my speech at a friend's wedding, or seconds before taking a penalty in a Sunday league soccer game. I'll plan to shoot low while looking at the top right corner in an attempt to bluff the goalie. I'll run up, I'll plant my left foot, I'll wind up my right foot, and just as I'm about to strike the ball, I will think to myself, God, I can't believe in kindergarten I was such a selfish brat. Do I score? Usually no. And if I do, it doesn't matter. The shame that blankets over me suffocates any possible joy in that moment. But through examining the over-examination, I've come to notice this guilt occur and reoccur. And despite years of meditating and studying philosophy, I have only now started to occasionally remember to not self-flagellate every time I'm visited by this corrupting chocolatey memory of boyhood hedonism. And instead just notice it as a passing thought, as a synapse triggering, and say to myself, Jonah, you are in your 30s. It's okay to let this one go. Given the way our archaic minds are designed, these small mental wins are difficult to come by. But what I've realized is that these kind of mental wins really do accumulate into a life with far less average suffering. So this is the place for you if you are the type of person who can find yourself at a stunning beach, the sun-kissed sand slipping between your toes as laughing children run by collecting seashells, and instead of basking in that glorious moment, your mind wanders to that time you spilled soy sauce all over yourself in front of your boss. This is the place for you if on a bushwalk amidst a symphony of bird songs, instead of savoring it, you think to yourself, I miss the way my ex used to sneeze. And I wonder if consciousness exists after death. And I wish I had a private chef. And one of these days, I swear to God, I'm going to drop everything and move to Amsterdam and open a cake shop and bicycle to work, my helmetless hair dancing in the summer wind. The beautiful world around you continues to be beautiful, and you miss it because you cannot for the life of you stop thinking. That's who I am. I am someone who can miss many of the most precious moments in life because I am ambushed by my own neuroticism and existential questions and chaotic fantasies, all of which do not do a great deal of good for my well-being. And so, I am on a quest, which I plan to share with you to sort my shit out. Because I believe at some point we have to attempt to enjoy our short, stupid lives. So my game plan is to carefully document my failures, my successes, and my breakthroughs in the hope that you find something useful, or perhaps notice if you're falling into the same traps. In pursuit of this life-changing knowledge, I'll be interviewing the wisest gurus, the brightest scientists, the most accomplished artists, the best athletes, basically the most interesting people I can find. I'll be asking them, A, what exactly are you doing that is facilitating all of this success? And B, what can I learn from your life about well-being and happiness, if in fact your life or career does facilitate well-being and happiness? We have to over-examine the lives of others in order to understand how to make ours as spiritually rich and fulfilling as possible. And there are some amazing guests we have lined up, which I think will allow us to peek behind the curtain of some incredible lives. Which is good, because I need all the help I can get. So if you're stumbling through life, falling, getting up again, falling, well, I am too. And my hope is that together, through examination, we can make less mistakes, or at least different mistakes to the mistakes we made yesterday. And that includes examining our over-examinations when they're not helping us, or over-examining tendencies to under-examine our blind spots. My best qualification for hosting this show is that I can honestly say I'm enjoying everyday life more than I ever have on average. Of course, there are bad days, but we're trending in the right direction. And that's come from doing my best to be present and open to challenges, being grateful for all that I have, and understanding when it's precisely the pursuit of happiness that is making me unhappy. I certainly don't claim enlightenment. I don't think I'm seeking enlightenment. In fact, I don't even know what enlightenment means. But I know there's room for me to become a better person, which seems like a road worth traversing. And it would be an honor to have you on this journey with me, lending your insight, sharing your stories, calling me out if I fail to practice what I preach. I hope we can learn from each other, and I'll talk a little bit about how to get in touch in the next episode. As many of you know, I love reading listener reflections. And if it's not too presumptuous to ask, if you'd like to leave a review, perhaps if any of my previous work over the last few years has been of some value to you, that would be tremendously helpful. And of course, you reserve the right to change it into something scathing should I fail to live up to any of my promises. But we're building from the ground up here, so any kind of early support is going to go a long way. And finally, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has followed me here from my show on the Waking Up app. It really means a lot that you've decided to continue this adventure with me. I really do appreciate it. All right. This is the Overexamined Life, and I'll be back on Thursday.